Hi there, in today's video I'm going to talk about how, what and why I fertilise the way I do in my planted aquariums. So stick around to the end, hope you enjoy, see you soon. Hello, Geordie Scaper here and welcome to my adventure in aquascaping. So let's talk aquatic plant fertilisers, and that's the reason for this video. I have done videos in the past, but in this video I want to try and give you a better understanding of why I dose the way I do. So how I dose, what I dose and why I dose the way I do. I do get a lot of comments saying, why do you dose that way? It's complicated. Why do you use all them separate products? Or just use this all in one. But there is a good reason why I dose the way I do. I dose the way I do because of this guy here, Takashi Amano, the legend of aquascaping, who sadly passed. Takashi Amano dosed this way. If you've seen some of Takashi Amano's work, you'll see some of the awe-inspiring, beautiful aquascapes he's created. And the plants are always gorgeous, thriving, beautiful colours. So that's why I dose that way. If it's good enough for Takashi Amano, it's good enough for anybody in my opinion. But yeah, that's why I dose the way I do. Takashi Amano done it for all the years he was alive, and his company still dose this way to this day. Before I go into my regular dosing routine, I do want to mention a product called Seachem Flourish Advance. This is like baby formula for plants in the early stages. So especially plants like tissue culture plants in the little in vitro lab grown pots. This is a really good product to provide plants with what they need in the early stages. It really stimulates root and bud growth. But I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to hand you over to my friend from Seachem, Nicole, and she'll be explaining a lot better than I can.
We have Flourish Advance here from the Seachem range. It is a phytohormone supplement for plants. Just like people, plants have hormones that help regulate their growth. So not all plants are created equal in nature. You can have the same species of plant, and depending on nutrient availability, environmental stressors, they're all gonna look a little bit different and grow differently. So if you have a plant in a stream, for example, that's under constant stress, it's gonna produce more phytohormones that tell it to have a stronger stem and root system versus the same plant that may be growing on the bank of the stream. Flourish Advance replicates those natural phytohormones that are found in plants. It's best used for new growth. So the first about 10 days that you use Flourish Advance, it's gonna work to establish the root system of the plant in the substrate bed. Then after the first 10 days, you're gonna see an explosion of vertical growth. It must be used with a nutrient supplement, so make sure you get your nutrients in balance in addition to using Flourish Advance, and it's best used with exposed plant tissue. So if you get new plants in, go ahead, give those roots a trim and a cleanup, give it a nice trim on your stem plants, dose Flourish Advance, and you'll see that huge explosion of growth.
I hope you enjoyed that little snippet from Nicole. That is the product I use for the first 10 to 14 days in that settling period. So I use nothing but Flourish Advance, and then I go into a more regular fert routine, which I'm going to talk about now. Before we go on with today's topic, I just want to ask you all if you can please hit that subscribe button and give the video a like if you do enjoy these videos. There's a very small percentage of people who watch my videos actually subscribe, and if you subscribe, it really does help me out in the world of YouTube. It's free, it's totally free, there's no cost at all to subscribe, so please hit that subscribe button, really do appreciate it. On with the rest of the video. So why use liquid ferts? Aquatic plants actively take up nutrition from the surface of the leaves as well as the roots. So relying solely on the substrate and the fish waste isn't enough to let your plants thrive. So these liquid ferts dosed into the water column will provide the plants with the necessary supplements needed to help them thrive, grow and give them the best colours. So that's why we use liquid ferts. The main reason I don't use all-in-one ferts is because in some of them, there's certain ferts I don't want to dose. The biggest example being phosphorus. High phosphates just triggers algae, and I've had that in the past. So to avoid algae issues, I just don't use phosphates. I think there must be enough phosphates in my tap water, and I've never felt the need or had to dose phosphorus in my tanks. And it's the same as what I was saying with Takashi Amano. He didn't dose phosphates. So again, that's another reason why I don't do it. It seems to me Takashi Amano mastered plant fertilization. So if he wasn't dosing phosphates, that's the reason I don't. So if I can dose separate, I've got a regular dosing routine, I can add, take away anything I want if I feel the need. So for example, if a plant isn't growing too well, the growth's stunted or it's pale in colour, I know I can add a supplement. So in that case it would be nitrogen, which I've noticed with certain plants, if it's a bit pale, I'll add some nitrogen. But I don't have to if I don't want to, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's why I dose separate. So I dose with 4 different types of fertilizers. The first being trace elements and potassium. They're the ones I dose on a daily basis because those deplete really quickly in a planted tank environment. After a month or so, when the tank is a bit more mature, I'll introduce iron. Plants love iron, so it's best to supplement that as well. And I usually dose that around about twice a week. Sometimes I notice a plant growth might be a bit stunted or the leaves are a bit pale. It's usually down to low nitrates, so I'll add nitrogen to bring that up a bit. So yeah, daily basis, trace, potassium, and then we'll go on to nitrogen and iron. So adding these 4 supplements on a regular basis will really help with plant growth, healthy plant growth, and really improves the colour of the leaves of the plants. So that's why I dose the way I do. So I can easily take away. So if I'm dosing trace and potassium, which are pretty much essential on a regular basis, and that's what the plants really need, and as I was saying, deplete quickly, this is what I'm giving regular all the time. But I've got iron on hand and I've got nitrogen on hand. If I see any deficiencies in the plants, I can easily add those. So if you're having issues with your planted tanks at home, say you're dosing with an all-in-one, and I don't disagree totally with all-in-one, if that works for you, great, go on with it. This is just the reason I dose separate. So I'm not forcing it on anybody, I would never do that. But I just prefer to dose separate because you can be in more control. So you're having issues at home, say you're having algae issues in your tank and you know you've got the right levels of light, the right duration of light, there's not too much intensity, you're keeping on top of your water changes, you're doing all the stuff you're meant to, but you're still getting algae issues, just check your all-in-one fertilizer, does it contain phosphates? Because that could be triggering the algae. I've had that in the past with certain ferts, so it's just something you might want to check. So to summarise, why do I dose the way I do? Because of Takashi Amano, because I follow his dosing routine and I have done for years and I find it works really well, and it obviously worked for Takashi Amano. What do I dose? I dose trace elements and I dose potassium on a daily basis. If I need to add iron, I'll add iron. It's usually once or twice a week. And if I see any deficiencies, pale leaves and stunted growth, I'll dose nitrogen. So that's the only 4 products I use. I do use another product in the early stages for the first 2 weeks or so, Flourish Advanced, to help with the early stages, the settling period when you first set up your planted aquarium. So that's the products I do use. So I suppose it's 4 plus 1. So yeah, that's how, what and why I fert the way I do. So I really hope you found this video useful and it gives you that bit more confidence to dose separate if that's something you've been thinking about doing. So as usual, thanks for watching, thank you so much for your support. Till next video, see you later.